I feel very called to become a member of the Catholic Church.
Love the Catholic Church. It's just the best place to be.
From the studios of EWTN, this is Open Line. In North America, call toll-free 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985. You can also send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
It's Tuesday. That means our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan, is in the house talking the life issues. If you've got a question or a comment for Barbara, the number's 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America. 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 1-205-271-2985. That's 1-205-271-2985. And we'll put you straight to the front of the line at that number, 205-271-2985. Or you can send us an email, openline@EWTN.com. I'm Jack Williams. The lovely and talented Elena Rodriguez produces the program. And when you call the program, your call will be answered by our call screener, who just prior to me going on the global airwaves chose to make fun of me. So I know Elena is aghast behind the glass producing the program. Barbara McGuigan made fun of me. Can you believe this?
I can't. Oh, I can't believe it.
I think it could be at least one segment of the show talking about how my dignity as a human person has been violated by the barbs of one Matt Gubenski. So the world now knows. So callers, when you call in to talk to Barbara today, make sure you tell Matt that he owes me an apology. Barbara, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Getting ready to take off at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
And where are you going?
Virginia. Yes, my granddaughter's graduation.
From?
Yes, from Marymount University in D.C., I guess, or I don't know, somewhere close by the White House.
And what did this last study at Marymount University?
This little Irish dancer lass, study to be a nurse. She'll get her RN.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Well, she'll never have to look far for a job, I'll tell you that.
She's smart as a whip, Jack, and you know what? She has had diabetes since she has been 9 months old.
Wow.
That's when they diagnosed it.
That's a disciplined young lady right there.
Oh, she is, and she's a delight. She's happy. I mean, it's just how God can just take something, a cross that it just seems so debilitating, and look what you can do with it. You know, look what you can become.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Jump on while there's a couple lines open if you want to talk to Barbara McGuigan. And Barbara, my dad, I don't know if I ever told you this or not, but my dad, when I was young, used to say that sometime in past history, the creator of the universe reached down and he grabbed the United States by Maine with his right hand and Florida with his left hand. And he tilted the entire nation up at a 45-degree angle, and all the loose rocks rolled down to California.
I would tend to agree with your dad.
What on earth is going on in your state now?
Hey, you know what? You know, we take the good with the bad, and it's not just here, that's for sure. But I was so stunned when an LA Times article by David Lazarus is his name. This was just on May 6th. He was talking about how medical leaders at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, which is, about an hour and a half from me, maybe 2, voted behind closed doors this week for the facility's hundreds of doctors and affiliated personnel to opt out. I almost choked when I saw this. To opt out of California's assisted suicide law, which actually goes into effect June 9th. I mean, this is unbelievable. And what it looks like is Huntington, the hospital itself, will become one of the largest non-religious medical institutions statewide to turn its back on a law that Governor Jerry Brown called a comfort to anyone dying in prolonged and excruciating pain, is his quote. But what I think is just so amazing is this whole End-of-Life Option Act. Again, it wasn't the vote of the people, Jack. It was not the vote of the people. And so the way this guy from the LA Times would put it, it allows doctors, medical groups, and hospitals to opt out of the law's guidelines for assisting the terminally ill to achieve a dignified end. And I'm thinking to myself, a dignified end, okay? To die loopy with a plastic bag over your head, that's a dignified end? I mean, come on. It's just crazy what is going on. And so I was so thrilled that there will be people that will reject this in the state of California. And then there's another, Providence Health and Services, which operates 6 medical centers in SoCal. They said they would be opting out because assisted suicide is incompatible with the system's Catholic beliefs. So, that part to me, that's worth shouting from the housetops, if you ask me, because that is quite incredible. And then, as you might expect, we have a large California teachers union forcing those who are non-union members to pay for LGBTQ advocacy. Now, this is unfortunate because the unions are charging non-members as well as members for this big LGBTQ conference that they're having. $17,108. These poor teachers are having to pay for these political little gatherings. And so it's unfortunate. And so once again, we have only 10, but hey, 10 is better than 1. We have 10 California school teachers have joined with the Christian Educators Association International, didn't know there was such a group, in suing to overturn this California law on the First Amendment grounds that they should have to pay their fair share for these political, works that they're trying to get across. Not just conferences, but, just to promote the LGBT agenda. It's a political goal. So they are going to reject it too. See, here's the bottom line, Jack. This is why I wanted to bring this up. We have to reject these things. We can't just roll over in a fetal position and whine about it. We have to stand up and reject it because we're really up against it. And that's just what is so sad. And go ahead, Jack.
Did the secular hospital give a reason for why they were opting out, or did they not issue a statement at all where they were kind of didn't really realize people were going to find out about it, I'm guessing probably?
They didn't give a reason, okay? It's funny you would ask that. They didn't give a reason for opting out, but it's very clear that that's the move that they want to take. So, most doctors, I think, have really pretty good consciences, and they don't want to be in the business of killing people. So it's just kind of amazing, but we're so up against it. I mean, it's sad.
Off to a good start here on an Open Line Tuesday with our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan. We'd love to hear what you think of the things Barbara's talked about so far, or if you have a question or any other comments, we'd love to hear those as well. 1-800-585-9396, Open Line Tuesday with our very own pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan.
From EWTN News Nightly in Washington, D.C., I'm Catherine Seltner with an EWTN Newslink. President Barack Obama will travel to Hiroshima this month in the first visit by a sitting American president. The U.S. dropped an atomic bomb that killed 140,000 Japanese on the site in 1945. Bernie Sanders tells reporters to keep the faith despite Hillary Clinton's major lead to become the Democratic presidential candidate. This comes as voters in West Virginia head to the polls today. Nebraska is also holding its Republican primary. Conservative groups encouraged Facebook users to boycott the social media site on Friday. It's a response to allegations Facebook suppresses news on popular conservative topics. Facebook denies the allegations. And Pope Francis meets with a Catholic Italian men's group who serve the poor today. The Holy Father tells them to continue the gospel of charity and to be the instrument of God's tenderness to every person. Watch tonight at 6 Eastern.
Podcasts of Open Line are available within 24 hours of live broadcast. Go to EWTN.com and click on Multimedia.
How do you honor Mary during the month of May? Share your photos and stories with us. Email communications@EWTN.com and we'll post as many as possible on our social media sites.
Thank you for listening to EWTN Radio.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@EWTN.com.
We're talking the life issues on a pro-life edition of EWTN Open Line. We do that every Tuesday with our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan. If you've got a question for Barbara, the number is 1-800-585-9396. We've got a couple lines open right now at 1-800-585-9396. Jump on now while there's room for you. It will get crowded later. If you're outside the United States and Canada, we'd love to hear what's going on with you at 1-205-271-2985. Or you can send us an email, openline@EWTN.com. To the phones we go. Our leadoff hitter today is James in the great city of Des Moines, Iowa. James, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, James.
Hi. I was wondering how you feel about smart guns.
You know, I've heard that term bandied about. Tell me what a smart gun means. What's it do besides shoot?
A smart gun is a gun that only you can shoot, and basically they put software on it so that either it takes your fingerprint or your grip so that only you can shoot your gun and nobody else can.
Okay, now why is that? Why do they think that is a good thing to do, James?
Because I believe, and many groups have, that smart guns are good because nobody can just get your gun and shoot it whenever they want to, or they can't just take it and keep it. And one story I've heard that a cop in New York, he got his gun stolen, and he was shot with his own gun. And then the New York Police Department was thinking about getting smart guns for that reason, so that suspect or people that apprehended can't just take their gun, or they can't just shoot it.
Well, you know what? I haven't really thought about that too much. I have heard about it, though. And I think I agree with you, though, James, because I think that it would... How would it identify the person who shoots it, though? That would be with the finger, the thumbprint, and the grip, doesn't it? Like the first four fingers or something are like the
right.
print
And this,
imprint.
yeah, this is a common objection to folks that are not crazy about the Second Amendment, is that guns are often used against those who own them for their own protection, and this would certainly kind of alleviate that argument to a certain degree.
I was kind of wondering if it had something to do with trying to get rid of your guns. But, yeah, well, you know what? What about you, Jack? What do you think about that?
Oh, boy.
It sounds a little cagey to me in a way, but I don't want to call it cagey.
Yeah, I'm not on solid footing with the whole Second Amendment debate. I'm not to a place where I would have a gun in my home. But it's hard to argue with the evidence out there, especially when you look at these public incidents, these public attacks that have been taking place that, without exception, happen in marked gun-free zones.
Yeah.
You know, so I can see the merits of both sides, I guess.
Yes. Well, let me think about that more, James, and keep listening to the show. You sound like a pretty good, smart young guy.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, James.
God bless you, good man. Thanks for calling.
That opens up a line for you at 1-800-585-9396. Toll free anywhere in North America. That's the number Jim used in Ann Arbor County, Maryland. He's listening to EWTN on Sirius XM Channel 130. Jim, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Hi, I'm in Anne Arundel County, and the county executive, I understand, has contracted with Planned Parenthood to take over our county family health centers. And it's supposed to take place on July 1st, and it's supposed to be a contract that's already let. And I'm just trying to find out, do you have any suggestions of things that I might do, maybe besides letters to the editor or whatever?
Boy. What is this, your board that has approved this? The county board, you're saying?
No, the county executive.
The county executive. Well, definitely contact him or try to write to him. But, I mean, you know, we're living in the United States of Planned Parenthood. Trust me, with the government that we have now. Hopefully that will change. But, gosh, I mean, I'm trying to think what you could do. You can't do it alone, put it that way. Do you have enough people that you can kind of form a little coalition of your own?
I could try. The other thing is, we're written to our board, and the only response we've gotten from the 7 board members was, you really need to talk to the county executive. This is out of our hands. And I don't know how it's out of their hands, but...
No, I don't either. And do you have a more of a Democratic-run government there in Michigan?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Maryland.
Or Maryland, you said. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. There you go. Well, I mean, the way it looks to me, we're moving to where Planned Parenthood is taking over all levels of government because of its political influence, and they pay a lot of politicians money to get them elected. You know, they're financing these candidates, and so you know, when you consider that the American taxpayer, that's us, right? We gave them over $550 million a year, you know, and then we have no control over what it does. So we need to stop the organization, Jim. We need to stop the organization.
Speaking of stopping the organization, I would encourage Jim to visit stop.org, STOPP.org, Jim Sedlak's organization that's specifically designed to stop Planned Parenthood. And you might be able to find some resources that someone in your situation might be able to use against this act.
It's a hard call, but you know what, Jim? I admire you for wanting to resist it. We need to resist. So get your group together. I mean, you know, go to your parish and see how many people you can get. I mean, like just 10 teachers out here in California are rebelling against the big teacher unions. So, you know, if you could just get even 10 people. Jesus did it with 12 apostles, you know? Okay?
Is that helpful, Jim?
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
Thank
God bless
you.
you.
Appreciate
good
the
man.
phone call. Keep up the fight there in the great state of Maryland.
Yeah.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. We'd love to hear what's going on in your area from a pro-life point of view. 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 1-205-271-2985. Or you can send us an email, openline@EWTN.com. And Barbara, I think something's going on in the Massachusetts legislature.
God love them.
Looking to this. I'm about up to here with this bathroom bill nonsense. I'll tell you that right now.
You know what? And as well you should be. But here is Mass Resistance, one of my favorite groups in the entire world. I really don't know the people who are involved in it and who run it, but the Massachusetts legislature is trying to now modify their very crafty bathroom bill to counter sexual predator fears, because it's been, you know, canceled many times because they do have horror stories now, at least 12 of them. And actually I printed them off, but not that I'm going to read 12 of them. But there are already sexual predators who are using these same tactics to gain access to women and children in the restrooms. And the only thing I can say is if you can imagine what will happen when these bills make it legal. So, and there are states now around the country that are crafting legislation to stop the transgender agenda. Again, it's a political thing. We're talking about politics and power, but the Massachusetts legislator is trying hard, very hard, to impose it on their people. And so right now, they got it out of committee once again, but it's on its way to the full House and Senate. And the bill, I mean, honestly, I think we're in a nut house. The bill would force all public restrooms, locker rooms, and showers to allow both sexes under the guise of self-proclaimed gender identity, or they will face stiff fines, lawsuits, and even jail time. Here it is, folks. Here we go. Here we go. This is what is happening. But what these great people at Mass Resistance did, they pulled up all the horror stories, and not just in Massachusetts, but in many different states. And if you go to massresistance.org, massresistance.org, you will be able to read all about this because it's quite incredible. But, you've got a Democratic leadership, and they now believe that they can counter all these horror stories by saying this: any person who asserts gender identity for an improper purpose they will impose strict legal action on these people. But here again, that's why they're still fighting it, because sexual predators aren't likely to read or even care about the fine print of these regulations about this new, they call it the bathroom law. And then you've got the AG's office trying to make the regulations, and they're both very strong pro-LGBT proponents. It only addresses sexual predators. A man in a dress, or not in anything, who thinks he's a female is still extremely terrifying to women in public restrooms and locker rooms and showers. So this is a huge issue with women that the politicians are completely ignoring. But you know what, Jack? You have to think of all sides of this, because I also thought about the abuse that these poor people with this dysphoria disorder, I guess you would call it, that if they go into a man's bathroom with their women clothes on, they could really be violently treated by some of the men in there. So they have to come up with, maybe it's just come up with a separate bathroom for these people so they don't get beat up. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what I think is, I think statistics tell us that it's less than 0.1%
are transgender, yes.
So
yes.
It's much ado about not a whole lot, as near as I can tell.
It's much ado about sexual predators,
right,
is what it's much ado about.
So I don't think, the point being that it's really not about the individuals that may suffer from this condition. It's about the agenda.
Exactly.
And it
is politics.
It's about making us bend our knee to their agenda.
That's it. That is absolutely it, but we still have to reject it. We still have to fight it, because I feel sorry for everyone concerned. And if you read, because you can pull up these 12, any of you who are thinking of, if your state is looking into this, because of what, according to Mass Resistance, there are more than a few states around the country crafting legislation to allow these things. I mean, I would die if I walked in. And I mean, really, it would be very frightening, I think, to me. But think of little girls. Think of 12-year-olds or something like that. I mean, goodness, what can I say?
And I guess it would also beg the question that when they start running across these sexual predators who are using the legislation to perpetrate their crimes, for lack of a, well, that's an accurate word probably in this situation.
Yes.
Do we put them in a men's prison or a women's prison? Or does it depend on which they're identifying with at the moment of their arrest?
It's such a conundrum. And Obama's Attorney General just yesterday filed a lawsuit against North Carolina and that poor governor there. And I hope you're sitting down for this, because they are stating that North Carolina has violated federal civil rights laws by overturning ordinances mandating that people with dysphoria disorder, those are my words, they say transgender, can use the restroom and shower facilities of the opposite biological sex. So, there you go.
Open Line Tuesday rolls on with our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan.
Whether you're at home, at work, in the car, you can follow what he teaches 24 hours each day. We're EWTN Radio.
And just to let you know, I'm a returning Catholic because of EWTN. Bless you guys and keep it up.
And you're invited to visit our website too. Just log on to www.ewtn.com. That's www.ewtn.com.
Jesus had some pretty direct words about the poor. I'll sum them up for you. If you don't serve the poor, you will go to hell. Ouch, that stings. But those aren't my words, so don't kill the messenger. Read Matthew 25. Jesus' entire summary of the final judgment has to do with how we treat those in need. A heart that's unmoved by hunger, nakedness, homelessness, and thirst can't enter the kingdom. Thankfully, it's not too hard to do something about it. Go online and give regularly to your favorite charity that serves the poor. The internet has brought them to your doorstep. Carry gift cards to supermarkets and fast food places to give to the poor on street corners. And if you're able, join a local charity in a hands-on way. Getting to know the poor up close and personal reminds us what's most important in life and what's not. We need the poor more than they need us. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
I invite people to listen to Women of Grace Live if they're interested in being informed, if they're interested in being inspired, if they're interested in being encouraged in their life of faith. I encourage people to listen to Women of Grace Live because we hear from a wide assortment of people whose questions oftentimes are the very questions that are going on. I'm Janet Benkovic, inviting you to join me weekday mornings at 11 Eastern for Women of Grace on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Hello, this is Bishop Robert Baker from the Diocese of Birmingham in Alabama.
I'm Peggy Normandin, but you can call me Catholic.
Hello, friends. This is Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy. Thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Tonight on Mother Angelica Live Classics, Mother talks about the Holy Spirit. That's a deep subject. That's tonight.
Great one.
That's
such a
tonight
great one.
at 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio and television. Mother Angelica Live Classics. That woman is timeless.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Absolutely
I miss her.
timeless.
I do miss her.
If you've got a question for Barbara or a comment, the number's 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America. 1-800-585-9396. And you know, Barbara, one of the things that's come out of this Loretta Lynch lawsuit against the state of North Carolina is she is essentially claiming that the civil rights of individuals are being violated just as they were those of African American citizens in this country in the 1960s, and I think that should be an egregious affront to any person of minority descent in the United States.
Oh, you would think, because she is likening laws, Jack, that bar biological males from using female showers to Jim Crow laws and segregation measures that forced blacks to use separate drinking fountains. I mean, this is what they're comparing this to. And of course, everyone's smiling around her. This just happened yesterday. She said, we saw it in the Jim Crow laws that followed the Emancipation Proclamation. We saw it in the fierce arguments against Brown versus the Board of Education, the 1954 Supreme Court decision that overturned segregation. And we saw it in the state bans on same-sex unions that were intended to spike any hope that one day gays and lesbians might be afforded the right to marry. That's her quote. And so I can't even wrap my mind around this because, and then she said it was not so very long ago that states, including North Carolina, had signs above restaurants, water fountains, and public accommodations keeping people out. How long ago? How long ago would that have been? I mean, I can't imagine. She said it was not so very long ago. So I mean, it's so amazing to me that, you know, I mean, to think of the fact that this is a great deal more, she's saying, than bathrooms. She said it's about the founding ideals that have led this country. I mean, I'm thinking this is about the side of very sick people who commit sexual crimes, if you want to talk just about the sexual predators that they're worrying about. And they're turning it into a civil rights issue.
Back to the phones we go. Eric is in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He's listening to EWTN on Oklahoma Catholic Broadcasting. Eric, thanks for holding. You're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Yeah, hi,
hello.
Barbara. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Oh, praise God. Thank you for calling in and listening.
Yeah, I was just wanting to make a quick comment on the smart gun comment.
Yes, good.
Well, I'm from Oklahoma, and I'm what you would consider very pro Second Amendment. And,
yes.
One of the reasons why I would say that smart guns are not used, and especially not used in police force, is that it's a technology, and if those who carry for personal defense or as a profession cannot rely on technology for their tool to work. So if a police officer, God forbid, had to draw his firearm, and just think of the reaction he would get if the thing didn't work right. And with all technology, it can
fail.
It would fail miserably. But it really brings up more of a question of, this is a Second Amendment right. When are we going to start putting on smart devices on First Amendment rights?
Hello.
That'll be the next thing. It's
you're right.
I understand that we have to have we have to be responsible in the way that we practice all of our rights, especially ones that deal with firearms. But I'm very concerned when government officials want to start telling us or writing laws on how to do that. The best thing that we can do with all of them is be responsible with each and every one of them.
Well, that's right, of course, and I totally understand what you're saying, but it becomes totalitarianism, don't you think, Eric?
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm a little leery when our president wants to start pushing anything, and puts it under the banner of responsible gun ownership, because his agenda is much different.
It's much different. It's much different. But the fact that they try to turn every single thing into a civil rights thing, and this is what it just astounds me that people can't see through this almost immediately. It's all a political and power grab is what it is, wouldn't you say?
Well, thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
Oh, God bless you, Eric. Thank you for calling.
God bless you. Thank you. Bye.
All righty. Bye now.
That opens up a line for you at 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America, 1-800-585-9396. Bob is in Fredericksburg, Texas, listening to EWTN on Guadalupe Radio. Bob, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Love it.
Whoops, you sound like you're underwater, Bob. Can we get a clearer sound?
I think he's cleared up. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, now it sounds better. Yes, thank you.
I was just about the school, the Catholic school that didn't allow the girl to wear a tuxedo. It's a Catholic private school, and people were bashing the Catholic school, and it's all they let her wear. It's about she was lesbian, and she's pretty much proud of a sin. That's what I keep telling. It's like open defiance. It's like I'm a sinner too, but let's say I was an adulterer. I don't openly want to be proud of my adultery. And I don't get why people are like oh, the school did wrong. Even Catholics were like, and Christians on Facebook were like, I'm Catholic and I'm disappointed because you shouldn't judge people. But then they go, oh, Jesus wasn't like that. And I'm like, well, Jesus did say the adulterous woman, he told her, they forget the key words. He said, go and sin no more.
Amen, Bob.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, you're a sinner. Oh, I'm going to accept you and you could be a sinner forever. No, he ate with sinners. Yeah, that's what they always, to change them, not to allow them to do what they want. That's what people always throw it.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right. And you know what? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't blame the girl at all, the girl. I really wouldn't, because I would bet my house that she has never been formed in what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a mother. There's so many things that, that parents do for their children from the time the baby's in the womb, really. And then they come out of the womb, and the little girl baby bonds with that mother when she nurses. So does the little boy. But then around 18 months to 2.5, 3 years of age, that's when he breaks, the little boy, he breaks the bond with the mother and then bonds with his dad as well. Not to say I don't, recognize my mother at all, but that's necessary for him to become a manly man. Now you have the little girl here who never has to break the bond with her mother. But if she doesn't have a mother that wasn't able to kind of give her what a woman is, and the power that a woman has. I'm not talking about radical feminism. I'm not talking about that. We don't need radical feminism to be powerful. We just need to be a real woman. And when we are real women, men will be real men. See, that's the thing. So I'm sad about is the Catholic school permitted this girl to wear a tuxedo. And I'm sure they were afraid of some political backlash from it, and they very well may have gotten it. You're in Fredericksburg? Is that where the school is, Bob, in Virginia?
No, I'm talking about the school, where is it? I'm talking about the one that happened a few days ago.
Yeah, they actually wouldn't let her wear the tuxedo.
Yeah.
Oh, they wouldn't let her wear that tuxedo. Okay.
Yeah, but everybody's getting mad saying that I was on the Facebook thing, and they were getting mad. Even Christians were like, oh, as a Christian, I'm embarrassed because you should let her wear that. Like, they're like saying, oh, you shouldn't judge. I'm like, even the mother, isn't that a Catholic school? I thought she's following, doesn't she go to church? And
No, see, it's a lack of understanding, a lack of evangelization, of formation in virtue and grace. And the parents, you can't give what you don't possess. If you don't have formation in virtue and grace, how are you going to pass it on to the kid? But now, I take back what I just said. I applaud the school. I applaud the Catholic school for saying that she could not wear a tuxedo, because it's all part of the agenda that they're getting in school, all the LGBT agenda that they're getting. And when you look at the Catholic colleges, the lavender graduations, are you familiar with that?
No.
At least 8 Catholic colleges across the country, not just in California, believe it or not, but across the country, are hosting what they call lavender graduations this very spring. And many of them, this is part of an annual campus tradition, so it's not the first time. And this is being held to celebrate and to honor students who have same-sex attraction or who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or Q stands for questioning, but they call it queer. That's the term that they want to be used. So you have these, and I'm not going to name the schools, but they're 8 Catholic colleges. So you wonder why this whole gender identity thing has become such an issue? It's being promoted on campuses. And so many of these poor souls that have not had the formation that they need, and that's what this poor Catholic school was trying to do. They were trying to make a statement there. So, and then out here, you have Loyola Marymount University. That's not all that far from me. It's now called a hate crime by this university if you deny transgenderism. A Catholic institution is now calling police, I'm serious, on any student or staff member. Actually, a staff member was the one who basically got arrested and started all this, who refers to only two genders, male and female, because they say that denies transgenderism and that constitutes a hate crime. Now, you think it's going to be just Loyola Marymount out here? I don't think so.
Thanks so much, Bob, for the phone call. And
Great
speaking
phone
of
call.
goofy things going on theoretically college campuses, well, actually, instead, we're going to go to Maryland, and Bridie is calling from the great state of Maryland.
Okay.
Bridie, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Bridie.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Oh, good. Great to hear your voice. What's up?
My niece teaches at that school, McDevitt High School in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And those kids knew ahead of time. They were all told the girls must wear dresses, the boys can wear suits or tuxedos.
Of course.
And she did it on purpose.
Yep.
And my niece was, like, appalled about the whole thing. And I can tell you, in our diocese, that just will never be tolerated. Our Bishop, Ronald Gaynor, is awesome.
Yes. But you see, if you followed that kid home, Bridie, if you followed her home, she would have the input. You would understand the input that this child has gotten for the most part. I mean, Lord knows, I can't judge every situation. But for the most part, maybe she was told her whole entire childhood that she should be a boy, that she's more like a boy than a girl. It's sad because sometimes it is mothers, fathers, grandmothers that push this sort of thing on the kid. That's why I say you can't judge the kid. Anyway, but Bridie, thank you for calling on that, because being defiant, I could understand, because that's how they're taught to be sometimes, if not at home, within all of these clubs that they have, which I doubt they'd have one of these, what do they call them, the Gay Straight Alliance on these Catholic campuses. There are some on Catholic campuses, but definitely not on this one. Thank you, dear heart, for calling.
Okay.
Thanks, Bridie. God bless you. We'll now head to the great state of Michigan, where Terry is listening. Terry, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hey, Terry. How's it going?
Fine, Barbara. And I'm sorry about your loss, Jack.
Oh, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Barbara and Jack, there's a pro-life witness this Sunday at Notre Dame in Indiana.
Yes,
as
there is.
The university's giving a Laetare Medal to pro-abortion and pro-same-sex marriage Vice President Joe Biden. So folks that want to have a peaceful pro-life witness, and if you're in Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, come to South Bend for this peaceful pro-life witness at the Notre Dame graduation.
Easy. It's also an easy drive from the Chicagoland area.
Yes.
That's beautiful. See,
Detroit
once again,
and,
resist,
Toledo.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Prayerfully and peacefully.
Oh, of course. Boldly, but with charity. That's the way it comes down. And if you can't be that way, then don't get out on the sidewalk. You know, if you're some people get all spun up and they want to reach out and strangle somebody. No, that's not, that is not the attitude you have to take. Even outside an abortion clinic, my husband always told me I could never go out there with you because it would upset me so much. And I said, well, then you just can't go, because it's just not a good thing to do if you can't just pray. Sit, sing, and pray is how we did during Operation Rescue. Well, thank you so much, Terry.
Thanks,
Good
Terry.
man for doing
Appreciate
it.
the phone call. God bless you there in the great state of Michigan. Straight ahead, we'll talk to Arlene in New Jersey, Nora in New Orleans, and Thomas in West Texas. And we've still got time for your phone calls at 1-800-585-9396. Open Line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is Bookmark Brief. I just finished interviewing Dr. Michael August about his new book, Who Designed the Designer? A Rediscovered Path to God's Existence. Michael, maybe you can give us a quick synopsis of what people will find in this work.
Sure. What they'll find in there is a single sustained argument from scratch for the existence of God, for a creator of all things, an intelligent creator of all things. It begins, when I say from scratch, I mean it doesn't presuppose any kind of philosophical training on the part of the reader. But as opposed to a science-based book, which begins from things you got to put your faith in if you happen not to be an astrophysicist or a biochemist or whatever, instead it begins the way a philosopher begins. That's my training. So it begins from self-evident truths that sometimes you need a little help to see because you got to get them out of your experience and formulate them. And when you hear them formulated, they might not sound that familiar because we don't always sit around formulating self-evident truths. But the book begins from things like that come out of ordinary experience that's universally shared by all human beings, and then starts putting together or drawing out their necessary implications. And the result is a first cause that's intelligent.
Well, thank you so much. An intelligent interview you can look forward to coming soon here on EWTN's Bookmark, the book Who Designed the Designer? A Rediscovered Path to God's Existence. Dr. Michael Augrust, available through the EWTN Religious Catalog. This has been an EWTN Bookmark Brief.
Making a difference. EWTN Radio.
May is dedicated to our Blessed Mother. Visit EWTN's Facebook page to see the many ways EWTN viewers and listeners around the world are celebrating Mary's Month. #MayAltar.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Be sure to keep it right here on many of these EWTN-affiliated stations after Open Line. Cresta in the afternoon at 4 Eastern. 2 hours of direct to my desk as Al is back from his vacation to Connecticut to visit his family, and he will let you set the agenda with your questions and comments today. Direct to his desk at 4 Eastern, Cresta in the afternoon. And 2 hours of Catholic Answers Live starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Tim Staples, open forum, both hours on Catholic Answers Live today. Back to the phones we go. Arlene is in Toms River, New Jersey, listening on Domestic Church Media. Arlene, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Arlene.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Great, thanks. How can we help?
Well, I just have a question. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she just recently told me that she's a transgender. It actually breaks my heart, but what kind of advice should I tell her so that she won't go in the wrong direction?
Okay. First of all, thank you for calling about this. And you're not the first one who has called me.
I don't know what to do with her anymore.
Where did she... Oh, God love you. It's difficult, especially in the teenage years when they're being fed this garbage. This is why they're so confused. But here's the thing. Where did she get this whole transgender notion?
She told me she's been like that for 15 years. I said, how would you say 15 years? And she said she's not a girl, she's a boy. And I don't know where it came from, so I cannot figure it out because I have 4 children and she's my oldest.
Okay. But, I mean, does she go to a school where they talk about these things to the kids?
It's a public school, so probably,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's where she heard it the first time. That's where she's getting this. See, the whole idea is human sexuality, and this is what she needs to understand. It's an objective, biological, binary trait. It's either XY or XX. Those are the genetic markers of healthy things, not genetic markers of a disorder. But so no one is born, in other words, with a gender. Everyone is born with a biological sex. What gender is, and this is how this has been promoted to her, I'm sure, that's kind of an awareness and a sense of oneself as male or female. That's a sociological, psychological concept. It's not an objective biological trait, XY or XX. So the problem that has to be understood here, and I'll give you a few websites you can go to and people to talk to, but identifying your gender as different from your biological sex is a disorder. And some of the good doctors say it's very much like anorexia. And as with anorexics, the job of the parents, the doctors, and the teachers is not to uncritically approve of this disordered thinking, but to help them recognize the source of such confusion and to reaffirm and help realign their assigned gender, sexual gender, with their perceived identity. This takes counseling, it takes help, and a lot of people, they have certain guidelines in certain ministries that say, oh, you don't want to ever have anyone fix it or change it or repair a student's sexual orientation. But this is unfair. This is unfair to them. And I'm just wondering, is there a dad in the house, Arlene?
Yes. We are pretty much, we go to church every weekend, Sunday. It's the family is, we're happy, so I don't know what happened. I really don't have any idea.
It happens to the best of people. It really does. There are all different reasons why this starts up. But if she's in a public school, I'm sure she's being indoctrinated. Most public schools are. So for sure, most public schools. Some religious schools as well, too, but there are fewer. But here's the thing. Do you have a pen?
Yes.
Okay. Go to acpeds.org. Okay, that is the American College of Pediatricians.
Okay.
And they have excellent people there. Tell them that you would like to handle this and have the counseling. It's a very, very good place. They don't encourage any hate or anything like that. It is a very, very good place to go. And they're just, this whole gender ideology thing harms children, because then they try to get into giving hormones, giving these injections to young kids to stunt their growth.
Any medication,
You don't want any part of it. You don't want any part of it. And if you want to email me, please do. That would be openline@EWTN.com. And I can give you a whole list that I don't have in front of me, unfortunately, right now. But I can give you a whole list of people to talk to. Also, Catholic therapists. CatholicTherapists.com or .org, one or the other. And you can find one in your area of New Jersey, a therapist to help you. All right.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you for
so
calling.
much.
Thank you, Arlene. Very quickly, we'll go to Nora in New Orleans, Louisiana. She's listening on Catholic Community Radio. Nora, we've got about a minute left with Barbara.
Hi, Nora.
Hello, Barbara. It's delightful to speak with you, and I'll be brief. I just wanted to thank you for your program and the announcement yesterday about the action that Dr. Miller is starting with her Michigan group to march on this awful, scandalous thing that's going to take place at Notre Dame tomorrow or on the weekend.
Job. Oh, and she was involved in it, huh? Good, that's good.
According to the program that I heard. And she encouraged everybody to get with them and just protest.
That's it. Resist, 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 because God in His wisdom is giving us an opportunity and a duty to reach our full potential for greatness. I liken us to St. Joan of Arc, right? It's not what we can do. It's what God can do through us. He gives us everything we need to take on the resistance. That's what we're doing.